Hello and welcome. My name is Tracy Pitts and I'm one of the Google Education Group South leaders. There's also Pip Ball and Sally Hodgson, who you will meet over time. This group is designed to welcome educators and to keep them updated and build a community of support. Each month I intend to release a 30-minute video, maximum 30 minutes, on some of the updates that have happened in Google that month. In this update, we're going to focus on the Gemini updates and we're going to focus on the NotebookLM updates. I'm not going over everything because there are a lot of updates, but I think these are the ones that will impact you most in the classroom at the moment. The thing to remember is Gemini and NotebookLM are now in part of the Education Workspace. What that means is you have the normal data protection, LLMs, so tools like Gemini, ChatGPT, etc., are not trained on the data, it's not shared, and nobody reviews it. However, I would still be cautious about what personal information you put into an LLM. The reason I'm showing you these three aspects is they are now in all Gemini accounts, whether you've got Education Standard, Education Plus, or the AI licenses. As long as it's turned on in the admin panel, you'll be able to use it, and the same with NotebookLM. Okay, let's get going. And here we go. This is how you would do a normal search or a normal prompt, and then this is the two new features, deep research and Canvas, or two of the new features that I'm going to share with you. These are used for very, very different things. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the deep research first. And this is more like getting a proper piece of research. Rather than Gemini just going out to the web and choosing what's kind of on the surface, it digs deep, it really looks into it. It will put a plan together, it will dig deep, it will tell me where all my sources come from, it will link to those sources, and I can come back to it. So the first thing I need to do is put my prompt in. So I'm asking it to choose an important historical migration that happened in a developing country involving people moving from one to the other. I don't want it just to look at what's happening now or what happened straight away. I want it to look at the long-term impact. So what were they over many years? Maybe even up to right now. I want it to look at social, political, and cultural. And I'm telling it, it needs to choose an event to focus on. I'm going to click on deep research and you can see it goes blue. So once you've done that, you can hit enter. And it is putting together a plan of what it's going to do. So it says, this is what you're asking me for, is that right? I'm going to analyze the results. I'm going to create a report. If I don't like the plan, I can click edit and I can update it. And I'm okay with this plan. I'm going to hit start research. You will see it pops open a side panel where my questions are, and then it's showing its thinking. You can watch its thinking if you want, or it will tell you, go away and I'll let you know. So you don't need to stay on this. So while it's doing that, let's just go back to the chat. And this time we're going to look at Canvas. Canvas does is it's slightly different to the normal chat. So I might put a very similar prompt in. I'm a GCSE geography teacher. I'm using the AQA syllabus. Design me a 2-hour GCSE geography lesson for my students. Migration influences, the impact developing countries. Make sure you reference the exam syllabus. Make sure they're bite-sized. I don't want one overall activity. I want my students to be able to choose some activities. Now, if you're like, oh, how did she come up with that prompt? It's just through experience. but we can go through that in another session if that would be helpful. So I've got my prompt in, but I'm hitting Canvas this time. Again, you're going to see the window change. And what it does is it writes my 2-hour lesson plan. I can go back and say, oh, please include a poem and make sure at least one activity references social media to engage my students. You can see my typing is atrocious, but fortunately Gemini doesn't mind, so I'll actually leave my spelling mistakes. So my lesson plan is there, but I'm asking it just to change it a bit. Once it's how I would like it to be, then what I can do is I can export that into Docs and I can tweak it to make it more relevant to me. If you've got a certain layout, you can tell it that you want it to have the title at the top, the learning objective, the resources, differentiation. You can even tell it you need to include these features of students' IEPs. Now, I've got my lesson plan. It's not really that different to how it would normally do. But what happens next is I can now say, design me some resources. So it goes away, it has a think, and it knows it's talking about this one thing, so it's designed me some resources. I can again look at them and think, yes, that's great. And I can say, okay, build out the instructions for the activities and resources. Again, you've noticed my spelling's bad, you'll get used to that. And so it's saying, okay, let's expand on them because at the moment that may be a bit vague for me. Now we have the resources for the lesson, we have the lesson plan. I'm going to ask it to please suggest 3 homework activities that are based around evaluating information on migration. It already knows I'm talking about GCSE students. It already knows that it's an AQA syllabus, so it should reference all that. Occasionally it has hiccups, and don't worry if it hiccups and doesn't produce anything here. I've found that occasionally you have to re-enter the prompt. You didn't produce the activities for homework. And it will probably apologize, it normally does, and says, I've described the activities rather than produced them, and it comes up here. I always think of it a bit like a toddler, where you have to tell it, no, you got that wrong, do it again. And here it's given me some level 1 lower ability. Obviously, I would go in to change this, and I wouldn't actually give out my homework like that. So let's go back and see what that deep research did. If you look, there's a red dot next to it, so that means something. So if I click on it, let's have a look. So here is my deep research, and it is a full paper. Now, that's great, but this is why I'm saying you need to use it carefully. You only get, I think it's about 3 tries a month with deep research. So don't use it randomly unless you're just doing. And when you do use it, you will then see all the sources and get these very, very detailed documents. Gems are a new feature in the free accounts, and they're something that is such a great time saver. The great thing with Gems is I don't have to repeat the information. I can set up multiple gems and I can set them up once. It's a bit like using School AI or Magic School, where you have the pre-written prompt and you just then put in the information you need. We're going to set up a new gem, so I'm clicking on new gem. You put in what you want to call it, and then you put in your information. I've said some 1-hour lesson plans, broken into sections, must reflect AQA, have clear outcomes, a range of activities, should develop their knowledge and focus on key skills for analysis, critical thinking and evaluation. My students have a wide range of interests and their reading levels range from year 7 to 11. Now, I need to change that into something that Gemini understands. So the easiest way to do that is to click on the magic pencil down here. And what it does is it turns it into the gem. So it goes through what it thinks the purpose and goals are, the behaviours and rules. It does have American spelling, which I find very annoying. I can go in and change these. If I don't think it's got everything I want, I can add it. So I might say leave space for the class name, date, and room. And then it's saying number 2, AQA syllabus alignment, align, make sure it covers all the required topic and skills, differentiated activities, and so on. You get the idea. Then at the bottom, what it does is it kind of summarizes it. In language and accessibility, I always tell it to use British English so that I don't get those annoying spellings. Once you're happy with it, you save. Once it's saved, you can start your chat. So let's start my chat. Let's say today I am focusing on natural disasters. And I haven't had to tell it that I'm a geography teacher. It's given me, it's kind of taken all the information I gave it and it's putting that in. If there's anything missing, I can always go back into the Gem Manager and I can update it. So you would just go in here and you would update it. And once you've updated it, you can save it up here in the top right-hand corner. When you first come into Gemini and you're on that new chat window, if you can't see your gem, go down to Gem Manager and click on New Chat. And then you can start the chat and your conversations will be listed under Gem so you can get back to them. If you want to do another gem, you just go in and click New Gem. This time I'm going to do emails for parents. And I might say, help me write emails. One day I'll learn how to spell communications for parents. They must be polite, warm, and welcoming, and convey the information clearly. I could then just obviously go down to that magic pencil and tell it to do that. But I haven't told it to use British spellings. I haven't told it all sorts of other things. Now, I find that it says purpose, craft, warm, polite, convey information, ensure behaviours and rules. Let's have a look at this. It says initial inquiry, ask about the user about the email they want to send. So it's going to ask me what I want to send, what the purpose of the email is. And then it says ask the user who the recipient is, and then ask the user about the topic of the email, ask the user about the key points, ask the user about specific formatting requests. Then it says for email creation, use a friendly and approachable tone in the email, clearly and concisely convey the information, avoid jargon, check the emails for typos, grammar, and factual inaccuracies. I'm actually going to say use British spellings. It says offer different drafts and then additional considerations. Be mindful of sensitivities, generalizations, overall tone. Now, this time, I'm not sure it's going to do what I want, so I'm going to try it. So we're going to try it. So I need to write to a parent about how well their child is doing. It's going to process that information and then it should come back and follow those steps. So says, great, I can help you. What is your relationship to the child and the parent? What specific aspects do I want to mark? Particular anecdotes? Do you have any specific requests? I'm the tutor for the student. I want to say how much progress they are making this term in general as they're applying more effort. It's great to see that they're trying to hand in their homework every day, as I know they find this particularly tricky. I especially enjoyed the English piece on fairy tales. This is an email just to inform you. I don't have any formatting requests, but please keep it formal but polite. So let's say we've done that. And we're going to go. So it says, here are the drafts, dear, blah, blah, blah. Now you can see I haven't put any sensitive information in, but I could take these. So this is working for me, so I'm going to save it. So think of the Gem Manager as specific admin assistants that can do tasks for very specific things, and you don't have to keep telling it new information. I think this is a game changer. Going to look at NotebookLM. So again, let me just reshare my screen so we can look at NotebookLM. NotebookLM, again, is free. We're looking at all the free aspects. So if you're paying for NotebookLM and the AI licenses, that's great, and you get some extra things. But you have at least these. So in NotebookLM, let's get started. I need to create a new notebook, and I can discover sources, which I actually find really useful, and I can upload sources. And somewhere I've got resources for sessions. These are just ones I put together. I'm going to put in sample policies. These are my sample school policies. You can see I don't have very many, so I'm opening it. The reason it doesn't look like I've got very many is because of the formatting I'm using. So I might want to add some more sources. So let's use discover sources. I want sample policies for school, for teachers in primary schools. Put it in, it will go and look for some sources, and then I can select which sources I want. If I want them all, I could import them. And then that new feature I've been talking about is the bit I really enjoy. So you probably already know you can do a deep dive conversation, so you can turn this into an audio overview. You can create study guides, briefing notes, FAQs, and you can do more, because you can put anything in here you would like it to do. So I might ask it a particular question saying, in the primary secondary cover policy, what time do the cover teachers start? What do I need to leave? However, we're here to look at mind maps. So mind maps are here. We're going to click on it. And I'm selecting all the sources apart from this last one, because you can see there is a I, it means that it's a bad source. I will click on the three dots and I will remove that source. I can select all the sources, as I say, or I might just want a few of them for this mind map. I'm going to do all of them, and I'm going to hit mind map. Now that's quite a lot of information for it to churn through, but if you look on over here, it's already creating that new mind map. And it's now created a mind map. So let's open the mind map, and it's talking about the teaching and learning policies, and I can go into planning and resources. If I click on something that doesn't have an arrow, keep following the chain, it will find all the information relevant to planning and resources within all my sources. Think what a great study guide this is. At the moment, this is available for only 18+, but students could theoretically upload all their study notes, or you could upload all your lesson plans, all your lesson resources. I don't know about you, but in my drive, I have sometimes duplicates and things, and I can say, okay, look across everything, create me a new lesson on X, Y, or Z. I've even seen and heard people who use this for marking, and because it is now in Google Workspace for education, it's in that domain, it's protected by it, the data protection rules, so they don't share it, the information isn't reviewed, and all the rest of it. However, I'm always on the side of caution. That was our quick overview of what's new in Gemini. Remember, it's in the free plan, so it just needs to be turned on by your admin team, and NotebookLM. Again, that just needs to be enabled by your admin team, and it's free, but it is only available for over 18s. Gemini, there is exciting news because it's available for teens up at the moment, if your school agrees with that, and they are bringing it and making it available and safe for even younger students. The Gemini Teen is slightly different because students can't put in, write me a paper, give me the information, answer this. It's much more like a coach and to try and help them develop their skills and knowledge. As Google often does, it is retiring 2 programs. Google every now and again looks at its programs, looks at how they're used, whether they want to update them, when they were last updated, and it decides whether to retire them. So I don't know if you remember Google Hangouts, that got retired, Jamboard, all sorts of other things. So what they are retiring is CS first. Don't worry, there are other sources such as code.org and many others. This is being retired on June 2025. So if you're using anything after June 2025, you will not be able to access it. Next thing they are kind of retiring and then changing is applied digital skills. Now, this is one of my favorite because they're pre-prepared lessons that your students can sign into, you can track their progress, you can assign different lessons to different students. What they're doing is they're looking at what are the favorites and what has been recently updated and going to move those to a new platform. This new platform is going to be different. So students will no longer have to log in. You won't be able to track their progress. If you want to assign things, you will need to link them to your Google Classroom so that students can see what they've been assigned and you can track that progress. Remember though, if you have any favorite lessons, I would download them now because with applied digital skills, you've always been able to download the lessons and resources. So don't forget to do that before June 2025. Google tends to have June 2025 as an education deadline because that's a deadline in the US. Before I sign off, I just would like to say, although these are going to be recorded for now, hopefully in the future, they will become live events where you can join or you can then access the recording. And that means that if you've got any queries, questions, as a community, we can help solve them. Or maybe you've got some information on some great events that people could go to, and we can share and build and develop that community. One thing I must do before we leave is thank Eric Kurtz and the GEG Ohio team. They gave me the inspiration for doing this. Eric does a 2-hour deep dive and covers a lot more updates every month. So using some of his information and information I gather from other sources, I then choose what I would like to focus on and share those updates with you. If you have any areas you would like to have a webinar on, please let me know. This could be something that's already in existence, or it could be something that you've heard is coming, or maybe in docs you don't know how to use building blocks, and that's something you would really like to learn. Look forward to seeing you next month.